Greetings everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Before we get started with the video, don't forget to ask your questions for the Q&A video. And also, Ace's Coffee is always available for character commissions. You can find her coffee link in the description. Hello everyone, my name is Yuri. Since a majority of the subscribers agreed that they wanted Dokis to read Reddit stories, Ace found 4 stories for me to read today from r/am I the asshole. So, let's get started, shall we? Should I even begin to ask why I was assigned to this subreddit? Oh well. This first story comes from Lazy Cat Garfield. Am I the asshole for lying to my boyfriend when I fed him for dessert? Well, according to Reddit, everyone sucks. So, let's see what the story is about. Hi, so I, 24 female, have a boyfriend, 24 male. I'm from Poland and he's from Spain. Since we met almost 1 year ago, he never tried any Polish food that me or my family prepared for him. If he just said, no thanks, I would be fine. But he always comments on how disgusting it is, asks, how could we even eat that? And he gags for the whole meal. How disrespectful, honestly. He never even tried that food. We argued about it a few times because I think that his behavior is unacceptable, but he says that this food is just horrible and he's allowed to have preference. I mean, technically he is right. We all have our preferences for food, but at the same time, that doesn't give him a pass to disrespect other cultures' food. Anyway, let's continue. 4 days ago, at a family dinner, when my mom asked him if he would like some gołąbki, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, please correct me in the comments. Google translates it as cabbage rolls, not sure if it's the same thing. He once again gagged, covered his mouth, and said that he could never eat that. I was furious with him and told him to apologize. He refused, and there was a tense mood throughout the rest of the lunch. After lunch, it was time for a dessert. My mom made Nick, again please correct me in the comments, which is similar to cheesecake, but it's made with cottage cheese. My boyfriend refused to try that before, but this time, my mom covered it with chocolate, so it looked a little different. When he asked what's that, I quickly said it's some store-bought cake. My family didn't correct me, and we all ate in peace. My boyfriend even took a second piece. Well, good job? ? He asked where we bought that. Then I told him that it's Nick, that my mom made with cottage cheese. He looked at me a little confused, then told my mom it is good. I was happy with the result of my little lie, but on my way home, he started yelling at me. How could I humiliate him like that in front of my family, and how could I lie about what he's going to eat when he already told me that it's disgusting? Well, I asked him what his problem was because he liked the cake, but he said that I didn't respect him and his boundaries, and he's not talking to me until I apologize. It's been 4 days. He's not answering my messages, and I'm having doubts if he's right. Am I the asshole? He's not allergic, doesn't have any intolerance, and he isn't on a diet that would make him not to eat a Cernic, by the way. Edit. Oh wow, I didn't expect so many comments in 2 hours. Thank you so much for all of them. Many questions, why are we together? I study in Spain, met him at a university, and he and his friends are kind of my Spanish family now. He's usually a sweet and funny guy, just not a Polish fan. We visited my family for 2 days, Friday and Saturday. And when we were coming back to Spain, he snapped about Cernic. Not sure if I could continue this relationship, But it's scary to be alone in a foreign country and lose almost every friend I have now. Is Cernic worth it? He's still an amazing boyfriend who cares about me, lights up my day. If you've ever been in love, you would understand the feeling. Still not sure if I should apologize, because his behavior was very childish and disrespectful, as many of you said. But lying wasn't the best option, so I think I'm guilty of that. Edit number 2. Oh my, this already has over 1,500 comments. I try to read as many as I can, but cannot promise anything. Anyway, thanks for the responses. It opened my eyes a lot and made me do some actions. I talked to my parents about this, apologized for bringing him with me and not kicking him out. Also, discussed with them his behavior towards me and them. I found out that not only he was disrespectful about the food, but when I went to the toilet and my family tried to engage a conversation, he was just nodding or shaking his head without trying to respond properly. I texted him that we need to talk face to face, and if he's not gonna answer me by tomorrow, I'll end it by sending him a message. Do I have another choice? I will apologize for lying about Cernic, because I think that's my mistake, but the rest is on his side. Thank you for all your comments. Well, this was certainly an interesting first story, but I do have to say that the man was indeed disrespectful about your food, so I would agree that most of the fault is on his side. And the lying part, well, I guess that is kind of bad because you're kind of deceiving him technically. But at the same time, you were able to get him to try at least, and he did end up liking it. So, I would say he's definitely judging the food before he even gets a taste of it. So, he's definitely the asshole, not you though. But let's read some comments here. From Overall Astronomer 58. Not the asshole, but I wouldn't stay with a guy like that. Completely agree. Being picky with food is one thing, but the clearly disrespectful behavior towards you and your family, not even wanting to try? Sorry, but that has nothing to do with you being a picky eater or certain nationalities. That's just flat out rude. Sorry you have to deal with that. From Laughing Loving Livid. Not the asshole, but break up with him. His attitude to your culture is disgusting, and he's rude to your family as well as you. What are you with him? From Tough Crazy 8362. Your boyfriend is extremely rude and disrespectful. I'd say his behavior is bordering the line of emotional abuse and bigotry. In short, he sucks, not the asshole. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we would all agree that OP is not the asshole, but her boyfriend definitely is. Alright, let's move on to the second story. Before I start reading the second story, I would just like to say that you can also comment your thoughts on these stories in the comments below. Anyways, let's continue. Am I the asshole for assuming I was invited to my cousin's wedding and making a scene when I found out I wasn't? So the OP is 18 female and the cousin is 22 female. So my cousin's wedding was this weekend. I'll call her Mary. Growing up, we were pretty close, as me and my siblings, 20 female and 23 male, often went to Mary's house. Lately, we haven't seen each other much because all of them moved away from college, but it's still nice to see each other at family events. A year and a half ago, she met her now husband. He was invited to Christmas, Easter, and every family event since then. When he was there, I noticed that Mary was a lot more distant than usual and barely talked to me, but talked with my siblings all night. I figured it was probably just because of our age difference. A few weeks/months ago, so is it weeks or months? Anyway, we got an invitation to their wedding in the mail. Or at least, my parents did. My name wasn't mentioned in the invitation, which was addressed to our last names. But since I still live with my parents, and my brother and sister both got one, I assumed I was included, and so did my parents. But Mary's face dropped when she saw me. She pretended to smile, but I could see something was bothering her. The wedding went on, but during the cocktail, Mary came up to me and asked me why I came, since she didn't send me an invitation. I was taken aback a bit, but told her that we assumed I was included and asked her why she didn't invite me. She avoided the question, but after insisting a bit, she told me that she wanted her husband's family to have a good impression of her family and didn't want them to know that her cousin was a lesbian because she wanted to have a normal family. What in the world? Girl, what timeline are you in? Being a lesbian is normal. Hello? Hello? Anyway, for context, our family is pretty open-minded, and all of them except me. But her husband and her family are a lot more traditional and conservative. Oh, that explains it. What I don't understand is I don't look gay, whatever that means. And they would have never known unless someone told them. Okay, the looking gay thing is really stupid because looking gay is not a thing. Okay? Looking gay there's no specific way gays look. People who are gay, I'm just speechless right now, but gays all look different. Man, I was so shocked. I told her that she was sick for caring about impressing a bunch of bigots more than her own cousin. She got mad at me, and we both got a bit loud, which attracted attention. People came to find out what was happening. When they found out, my parents said that she was being mean and shouldn't have made a big deal about this. A bunch of other people said that it was wrong of me to come when I wasn't invited. Mary started telling me to leave, so I stormed off. Since I have been receiving texts from her and her parents saying that I was a bitch for coming, making a scene, and ruining her big day. I understand that it's her wedding, and she can invite whoever she wants, but her words were so hurtful, and I genuinely thought I was invited. But I know it's wrong that I caused such a big scene on her wedding day. Maybe I should have just left and not said anything. Am I the asshole? Well, there is a bit of complication to this because although I would say Mary is definitely the bigger asshole because of, their perspective on you being a lesbian and stuff like that, because come on, what timeline is she living in that they still have this kind of mindset towards lesbianism and LGBTQ in general? Like, why would they not invite you to impress the husband's conservative family? Like, come on. But let's read some comments here. From Equivalent Moose 2886, I'm going with not the asshole. If it was genuinely an innocent mistake about the invite, I mean, you live at home, your parents and siblings were invited, you've never been previously excluded. There was no reason to think that you weren't included, even though not specifically mentioned, as you and your siblings don't live at home, so they got separate invites. Out of interest, would your parents and siblings, etc., still have gone to the wedding if they knew that you had been excluded for being a lesbian? Even about the scene, you did not cause a scene. She was the one that made a scene. I completely agree with you on that one. She was the one who made a fuss about it. She could have just looked past your attendance since you weren't harming anyone, but instead she insulted you and you defended yourself. OP responded to this and said, "I don't think my parents and siblings would have gone if they knew. My parents have always tried to protect me when people were being homophobic to me, partly because many kids kind of bothered me about it throughout high school, so I don't think they would have been okay with it. Maybe they would have gone just so that there wouldn't be drama, but they definitely would have been angry at my cousin." From Part-Time Princess, Not the Asshole. A card to the last names would normally include everyone in the family living there. No reason to ask either. I would have assumed I was invited. Your cousin is an asshole. Completely agree. Bigots are automatically assholes. There's no looking gay. See, that's what I mean. That's crap. Hell, I look gay, but I'm straight, and plenty of lesbians aren't the butch gay type bigots envision. I'm sorry to say that your cousin is a bigot. She cares more about the bigoted ILs than her own cousin. Oh, in-laws, I'm sorry. You were hurt, and logically so. You reacted in a way that could be expected from someone who has been hurt. Sending you hugs. From Environmental Art 591, cousin is straight up homophobic, and I'm willing to bet that she hid it until she met a like-minded soul in her now husband and his family, so she felt bold enough to show her true colors, evident by her cold shoulder at family events since her relationship started. And given the aunt and uncle's attitude, I'm starting to think OP's extended family aren't as open-minded as she believes. OP, you need to show your parents the text messages from the flying monkeys, and 2, start cutting those flying monkeys off because they obviously care more about your cousin's image than your mental health, and might well be just as homophobic as cousin and her in-laws. I like the term flying monkeys. Anyway, comment your thoughts on that story in the comments below. Let's move on to the third story. From Lady User 81. Am I the asshole? Sister-in-law kicked us out after helping her. My wife and I agreed to help my wife's sister with her 2 young kids. She moved into a big house, is a single mother, is the president of a company. Before she moved, we would help out a lot anyways with the kids. Overnights, take to sporting events, take to school, pick up from school, help with their dogs, etc. We rented out our home. We moved into her house with our senior dog's start of the year, with the promise of her renovating the basement to a full functional house with everything we need. That never happened. We decided to let her in July. It's best we move back home after a year, as she was not able to fulfill her promise, and we need our own space, and that was not going to happen, clearly. She was silent and never said anything, refused to listen more to my wife, who wanted to help with coordinating schedule so she could still help with the kids after school. August 1st, she just sent via text to move out that weekend and would tell the kids we were just on vacation, but she wanted us out of the house ASAP. It was devastating and a surprise, especially how close we are to the kids. My wife made quick arrangements to stay at our close friends. It was decided I would move 2 hours away with our dogs as I work from home, and staying with my wife's mother was the best option while she stayed with her friends in town, and it was down the street from her work. I want nothing to do with her ever for what she did. She continued to gaslight us and say we never did anything in the house. We took care of everything. She only saw us in the evenings when she came home late, when we were on the couch before we went to bed. We took care of the kids, the house. She's a filthy person to clean up after, and said we didn't do anything at home and doesn't know why we invited ourselves to live at her house. My wife wants to make nice and move past to see the kids. However, I will not be doing anything of the sort, as she really damaged us financially and emotionally. It took a toll on my wife and I's relationship and my mental health. Am I the asshole here for not ever wanting that woman in my life again? I want to speak so bad to her, but basically told it's best to just be quiet. So, as of reading this story, there's no final verdict at the top of the story, but I personally think that no, OP is not the asshole. Assuming that OP is not leaving any details out, and it is true that they are helping out with the sister-in-law's house and all of that, then, if anything, the sister-in-law should be thankful that they're helping around the house, especially now that the OP mentioned that sister-in-law is quite messy and stuff like that. But let's read some comments here. From TD Luxon, I'm sorry for misreading that. Seems like now that you left, she'll start to realize pretty quickly how much you were doing. But at this point, it's probably too late to mend the relationship anyways. OP responded to that and said, she was scrambling for help, so she tried to get her parents and friends. She refuses to let us see the kids, whom we've been very close with the last 10 years, until this is resolved, apparently. We are nowhere near ready to discuss, especially since we are not home yet. From Solid Features 7678, I am a landlord, and after reading the replies he left, your sister-in-law broke the law. What she did is called an illegal eviction. It varies state to state, but you are required by law to give someone 30 to 45 days to move out. You could take her to the cleaners if you sue her. OP responded and said, I appreciate it. We looked into it because we did not have our own space and shared kitchen and bath. We were considered roommates and had zero rights. This is in Canada. Police and landlord-tenant board confirmed she can kick us out, and we were shit out of luck on everything. Well, I would say the landlord and the police and everyone involved is just an asshole, to be honest. From Zealous Ideal Elk 2208, not the asshole, and I'm pretty sure your sister-in-law missed the memo on how family actually works. It sounds like she pulled a classic, thanks for the help, now get out move. Moving in was supposed to be a team effort, and not a free babysitting service with a side of emotional whiplash. It's understandable that your wife wants to keep the peace for the kids, but you've got to protect your own mental health first. Maybe send her a card that says, wish you were in a more functional way, but really, take care of yourselves. Life's too short for family drama that leaves you feeling like you just binge-watched a family reality show. Well, that's the third story. Leave your comments and your thoughts in the comments below. We are now moving on to our fourth and final story, so if you want Ace to make more of these Reddit reading stories with the other Dokis, just leave them in the comments below. Anyways, from Competitive Crew 759, am I the asshole for refusing to turn my office into a guest room? This is an interesting title. How are you supposed to turn an office into a guest room? I guess we'll find out here. We are about to have our first baby and currently have a 4-bedroom house, a classic central hall colonial. 1 master, 2 guest rooms, and an office. Having an office has always been super important to me because I am an industrial designer and gamer. I have a large desktop and a separate design table with a 3D printer, tools, cabinets, shelves, and a VR set up. I'd just like to point out at this point that I've always put my wife first. I wonder why that's necessary though. I mean, that should be an obvious thing, but okay. I'm not that guy that ignores the wife and family to play video games. Great. That's basically the bare minimum, but congrats, I guess. I'm only really on the computer if she's not home or if she is sleeping, and this has seldom been a point of conflict in our relationship. There is no animosity between us, just a disagreement on how to use the space we have. Now that we are having a baby, she really wants to put the queen-size bed from the guest room into my office, the smallest room, which will really be cramping the space and making VR impossible. I'm obviously not a fan of this and would rather throw out the bed, even though I hate the idea of wasting a whole mattress. The reason for this is to accommodate when either of our parents and families come and stay over, as they often need more than one room. However, we have 3 pull-out mattresses and 4 additional couches people can sleep on if needed. Not to mention 2 inflatable queen-size mattresses if we get really desperate. It has happened once. I've offered to move my whole office to the basement, but she does not like the idea of not being able to reach me right across the hall if needed. We are at a bit of an impasse, and neither of us wanted to budge. I keep arguing that the house should be made to meet our needs and not worry about hosting other people. She thinks we should be good hosts since we are kind of the center point of our families for gatherings and stuff. We are also the only ones in both our families that have the space to host everyone, so every holiday is usually at our house anyways. I don't mind hosting, but I also don't want to lose 50% of my office so that someone can crash there once every few months. Update: we settled on getting a Murphy bed. Thanks for the suggestions. So I just looked up what a Murphy bed is, and I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but apparently it's like a bed that folds up vertically into a wall or a cabinet, which saves up a lot of space. So, really, OP and his wife had a happy ending. Good for them. But let's read some comments here. From Glenn230277, not the asshole. You have 2 guest rooms and presumably some sofas already, and you can throw a camping stretcher or similar in the office when needed, but to permanently change your office space is not cool. Your own space and autonomy is important. From Light Photographer, your wife seems to find the opinion of others very important. Furthermore, she just finds reasons why her solution must be the only one. I'm with you. You guys live in the house. Guests are only there for a few times a year. They get free housing, free food, and good company. They do not expect a private Hilton suite. Not the asshole. Stop reasoning, arguing. This is not about the reasons or arguments. It is about something else. From Honey Marby, you know, it's super important to have your own space, especially when you're into design and gaming. A basement office is a solid compromise. Hosting is cool, but it sounds like your needs matter too. Maybe suggest a rotating guest room or something. Balance is key, man. From Tangerine Bouquet, not the asshole. The bed can be moved to the basement, or a temporary option, like an inflatable mattress, can be used in the nursery or even your office, only when guests are there. Don't give up the home you live in for the occasional guests. Having an office is a reasonable use of the space by the people who live there. It's great that you have so much space for your many guests, but she can work something else out to not cause problems the other 90% of the time. So, those were all 4 stories that have been chosen for this video, and I have to say, this series has really come to an amazing and interesting start, but if you want Ace to make more of these Reddit reading stories with the other Dokies, just comment that down below. Also, don't forget to ask your questions for the Q&A, so hopefully we can start working on that soon. Ace looks forward to reading your questions for her, as this channel has already been growing and growing so much. Thank you so much for 1,580 plus subscribers. We all appreciate your love and support, and of course, we'd also like to apologize for the lack of videos lately, as Ace has been quite busy with school. But hopefully she can find a compromise and find a schedule that will suit her for video making and posting. Well, this has been Yuri. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you will be notified of our next upload. Well, see you guys next time. Bye!